Good morning, good afternoon, and good day, whichever way you guys are watching me. I'm Sean. I'm the ToGA brother. As you guys already know, I have a case of autism, right? And so recently, within the past 3 months, I moved. I ended up having a life-changing decision. Do you want to talk about it? I kind of want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Okay. So here we are. It is, let's say, June of 2024. Okay. And I was in the midst of living with my mom and my dad for many various reasons. I'm going to come clean here. I ended up having to move in with them because during COVID, prior to that event, I got asked to split from an apartment. I didn't get evicted. I got asked to separate from the apartment because we all just weren't coping with each other. We kind of just wanted different things, different ways. So all three of us at the time, I was living in an apartment over in Manassas, and it was about a 30-minute drive for me at most, average 20 minutes on a day-to-day basis. So it was a nice commute. I just took Route 28 the whole way. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you where I live because that's just creepy, right? Well, lived, okay. Um, and I know it's in the past, but get it over with, Sean. So I was living there, and we split in December of basically 2019, okay. And I was like, I don't really have a whole lot of places to come back to. So I reached out to my mom and my dad. Moms and dads, will always love you. And my mom was like, "You want to come home?" I said, basically picking up my ego, picking up my pride, picking up all the pieces of my hard work. I just had to come home. I said, "Yes, Mom, I have to come home." So she put my father on the phone, and he basically told me, "Listen, we're going to set some ground rules. Okay. You're going to come home, and you're going to basically fix yourself up to be a better version of yourself. You're going to be a better gentleman. You're going to be a more substantial version to society. And we're going to shape you into what you need to be. So when you move on your own, fast forward today, you're going to be a well-established person to be able to live with, a roommate, whatever you have, whatever you need to." Okay. So I basically lived there for a couple of months, and I basically kind of fell in love with working for a company, United, and things started really moving. Moving forward a couple months later, a couple years later, it's now June of 2020. No, now November of 2023. Okay, we were talking about possibly having my dad retire, and foreshadowing, he did. He's going to be moving to Tennessee. Okay. And so they had a conversation. They said, "Sean, we need to have a conversation with you." And this is very endearing and kind of last minute, but you need to know about this. 1 second, folks. Yes, this is apple juice. Okay. So we went ahead and discussed possibly leaving. And you're thinking, whoa, like, how did you cope with it? How did you deal with that? Well, as it turns out, I basically said, "Hey, so do you want me to come with you? Or what do you want me to do?" And I said, "Well, what do you want to do, Mr. Being me?" And I said, "Okay, do you want to know my honest opinion, my honest choice here? I don't want to live with you. I love you. I respect you. I always have, a good heart for you, but I don't want to live with you. And for various reasons. I want my family. I want my goal. I want my dream, my aspirations, my inspirations. I want them all to come together. I've worked really hard. Okay. Now, you guys may not see hard work from where I've come from, But having a case of disability, I've come a long way. A long way. Okay. Well, now having said that for you, we had to shift the mentality from not wanting to basically stay in the place I was until, yeah, basically shifting a new mentality for me. Kind of like, okay, so you went from having to stay in a place you didn't want to instead of staying in a place to be able to financially get back up on your feet where you like fell out, right? So it's kind of like saying, so we know you aren't going to be having a lot of money, and that's okay. And you probably won't be able to making rent here, and that's okay. So instead of paying us rent, paying all this, save that money, put it aside in a fund, so when you move out, all that money will go to the place you need to move to. Fast forward a few years, in a couple months, I was able to pay my deposit. But that we'll come back to that. Okay. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and have you guys stand by for just a quick second. I'm going to go ahead and take care of this because there's some background noise that's bothering me. And I know I should have shut that door in preparation for this. I didn't. Sorry. So give me just 1 second. Let me go and shut this for you, and we'll go back in action. Okay. Cue the background noise, the hotel music. All right, guys, we are back in action. Now, the door you see over here, okay, which is to my left, okay, and it's like over here. I can't do that on watching me on screen and then watching over there. It's just incompatible. It's incomplete. I can't process it. Okay, you probably can, but I can't. All right. So let's get back into this, right? So they said that they're going to probably have to move, and it was in Chattanooga, which was a possibility, and there was Nashville, and there was a couple of other places. So there were a lot of reasons to live in one area, a lot of reasons to live in another, and I said, hold on, let me look at my options here. So look at my options, and I was like, well, I really like my job. I love my job. I could do it every day for the rest of my life, even when I retire. Knock on wood. Yeah, this is laminate, and it's like particle board, but it's still wood. So anyway, I said, let me look into this. Well, as it turns out, there's a subcontractor for the ground crew that does work for the job I'm currently doing, where they're going to move. So that means that's out of the question. Because if you know anything about anything for anything, you guys all know that trying to find work, trying to find a job from scratch is very daunting, exhausting, and sometimes impossible. Air quotes. It's not impossible, it just feels impossible. So I was like, this is such a heartbreak because I really, 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 really like Nashville. And I could probably see myself driving back and forth if I had to, but okay, let's put that on the back burner. Talking to, my mom and them about possibly going with them. So I looked into things, and there, sure enough, was an opportunity for me to join what we call the move crew. Now, if you guys know a whole lot of history about my airline and some of the airlines, the cool part about working for my airline is that there's a lot of different work areas and assignment areas that you can go do. So, and because of this, what actually ends up happening is specialty areas you're able to access. Like if you want to do like cargo, if you want to do freight, if you want to do baggage, if you want to do tech ops, like, maintenance, if you want to do, what do you call it? Like closing flights out and all that stuff. Well, part of my job at the time, okay, was that. You see that tractor right there? We'll zoom in for you guys. Okay. That tractor right there. That tractor was a big step for me, the next step for me at the time. And I got promoted from just throwing bags in a plane and offloading them to being able to move them around an airport. Oh, crap. I've decided I've fallen in love with my job. Not just, I kind of like my job. No, I've absolutely 100% fallen in love with my job. The act of moving them with these machines and having to communicate with people that are important, I value with all my heart. And I do it in a heartbeat because my job matters. I mean, that's not to say that the other jobs don't matter, but my job matters, right? People count on me for multiple reasons and a very big multitude of things. Okay. So my job matters. So I was like, well, I really, really, really want to stay here because I've learned the airport for 7 years. I know the area. I know the procedures. I know the regulations. I get it all. I know it all. Not 1,000,000%, but I know it all. I know like 94% of it, right? Like I couldn't be a pilot today. I could probably fly in an emergency if I had to, but I couldn't jump on board and become, a pilot and go from this airport to this airport on a daily basis, expecting to perform 1,000,000%. I just couldn't. And some of that has to do with having autism, and I'll explain that in a different episode or a different podcast because there's things that can kind of interject my thought process and interject my, capabilities. But there's a lot of things I can do you can't do, right? So I can multitask an entire amount of nuanced things in a small second, whereas it would normally take you a couple seconds to process and to organize and to put it in motion. I've already done that, thought about it, organized it, and am doing it while you're in the process of processing it. So that's how my brain works. It's just chaotic, but it's kind of done differently. There's no, oh, you can't do anything. We think differently. Okay. I know I'm yapping, but there's a point to this point I'm making. So anyone with a brain, right? And I say that, laughing, would have thought, dude, if you're basically given an opportunity to leave because people are saying, hey, we're going to move, right? Like when I was younger, they're like, okay, when are we moving? Where are we moving? Do I know anybody? Where are we going? I would just move, right? I'd take all my things. I'd say goodbye to my friends, say goodbye to those I knew, and say, I wish you best of luck. But that's not the same anymore because I love what I do. I wanted to stay, but I couldn't afford $2,600 rent payments to the house that they were leaving from. I couldn't, right? I just couldn't. So, and I'm kind of, what's the word? See, this is where my brain kind of frustrates me at times because there's words I can't find at times, but you get what I mean, right? I'm exaggerating. There we go. I found it. It took me a little bit, but I found it. Okay. So I'm exaggerating these numbers, but you get the gist. That's what matters is you get the gist. I'm just explaining it and conversing it and socializing it with you in a different way, but you still see the same picture. Okay. So yeah. I was like, now I'm going to have to forcefully move. So I basically went from learning this new job to, in the back of my brain, I'm going to have to leave. 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 To, where am I going to stay? You know? So things went, kind of awry. But a small, weird opportunity showed up because years, a year later, I was, kind of bored twiddling my thumbs. And that's one of my catchphrases, bored twiddling my thumbs. Like literally twiddling my thumbs, like this kind of thing. And I was like, okay, so why don't we just see where life takes me? I don't suggest doing that and not having a plan, but that's kind of where I got here. And let's go blue for a bit, shall we? And plus, my mama always said blue looks good on me, so we'll go blue for a little bit. Plus, it kind of sets the mood, doesn't it? At least I think it does. So, red sets the mood, but blue kind of sets the tone and mood for this particular part of video. So, yeah. I was like, okay, well, instead of being all sad about it, I'm like, okay, so let's see if we can turn this from a sad thing into a positive thing. Well, that just means I have to get my butt, get my, high end in high gear, really learn my job, really see if I can find places and really be a star because maybe someone likes my work ethic and wants me to work for them, make enough money to actually afford the place that my parents were staying at. Okay. You guys will actually figure it out what ended up happening. I'm trying to build this cliffhanger. So, and one day I was like, well, I'm going to go hang out with my old buddy. And for those of you guys that don't know, I'm talking about my comrade, my confidant, Mr. Richard right there. And I was like, hey, bro, I'm going to come out. I'm going to see you. And so let's backstep a couple of weeks. I was in my job for the move crew, moving planes, and I was, actually working for them at an OJT. And one of the guys that was actually my OJT trainer, funny enough, came in the break room. We had this basically briefing, basically like a conference among all of our crew before we start working. We call it a briefing, but it's really a conference among everybody. And the first thing that my manager walked in and said was, I really hate you right now. And I'm like, what? Okay, hold the thought, pause. I've already said this before, but I'm emphasizing this because this is how we got to today, right? It's a major milestone. And it also wants to emphasize the point that sometimes you kind of just need to let life go. Just let it take you. It's like a wave. Get up on your surfboard, but let the wave contact the board, lift you up. Then you got to get on the board and let the wave do the rest of the work, right? So right now, what's happening is I'm just on the board paddling, trying to get going, right? The wave is trying to keep creeping closer and closer. It's starting to crest, right? And all this is, the things that I started to do, things I started to say yes to, things I said no to, and all that stuff. So he said, and I was like, wait, why? Why do you hate him? Like kind of jokingly, he says, oh, he's going to Houston. We're letting him go. I don't want him to, but he's going to go. I'm like, that's funny. I could have sworn I put in a request that if there were any positions and openings and job opportunities in Houston, that my company should email me. I never received any emails. Never notified. Never mentioned. I'm going to see if this was just a special case. So I went in there. 100 positions available. Hot dog. So I went in, I submitted what we call a transfer request, a station transfer request. You had to put it in, and it's done by a seniority bid, right? They basically go into the order of people that have worked for the company the longest, down to the people that have worked for the company the least amount of time. and I had quite a bit of seniority because I had been in the company for 5 years. So my name was pretty much, I wouldn't say all the way at the top, but it wasn't all the way at the bottom. It was like by the bottom quarter of the names, right? So I was like, there may not be a chance I'm going. So I went out to go see this guy, Richard, out where he lives. He lives out in the Midwest, and you guys have seen that video in that live that I basically was like, hey, I got it. And we're out there, and we're chilling, and he took me to one of his train yards, and we're driving down the 670 split. And I look at my cell phone, and it said the transfer request was approved. Keep in mind, I didn't make any phone calls. I didn't email nobody. I didn't harass nobody. I didn't ask anybody other inquiry questions. I just let life happen. I went to sleep, woke up, went to work, went home, went to sleep. Got up, went to work, went home, went to sleep. Nothing changed. And I got that reward, that notification, that email I was looking all my life for. Someone's looking out for me. Foreshadow. If you have a drink, that you're drinking right now, we don't support alcoholics. We don't support alcohol. Water, Gatorade, whatever. It's what you're drinking. Little side note. That new orange cream soda from Coca-Cola. So good. That's what I'm drinking right now. You guys can see. See? It's brown. Promise. Okay. And I came back and I was like, bro, I got the award. I got the email. I was elated. So I said, okay, I've got the job. I'm excited. I'm going to auto accept. Yeah, this is what I've always wanted. That's the autism in me. You know what a normal person would have done? Okay, so if I accept this, I've got to have a place to stay. I've got to have a way to get there. I've got to have time to get there. I've got to have people I know I can arrange this with. And I've got to do this so that I can adjust where I'm currently at living to where I'm going to live potentially. I didn't think that through. Oops. Well, one thing led to another, and I'm here in this apartment, in this place. So knowing that I was going to be working and I was going to be full-time, by the way, it was a full-time job transfer, so it wasn't a downgrade. As a matter of fact, I went from a part-time position at my station, because we're a part-time only station over where I was currently working, where I was originally working, to where I am currently working. It was part-time to then full-time, so it was kind of like an upgrade, right? Well, it's basically an even balance, because when I was back at my old station, the job I was just showing you on the phone, the film, that was a $3 increase from basically a part-time employee, right? So the money I was earning in my paycheck with that increase to me working full-time basically went even. And I know that's kind of crazy and weird to think about, but yes. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to do that, so I silenced the phone so you won't hear that anymore. So I insisted on basically saying, okay, I have the job. I have to go find a place to live. So I booked a trip, and this was like within like days, because the folks that were at the airport I'm currently working at now, their administrative offices and clerical offices were like, hey, you need to make sure you're qualified to work here. You need to have security clearance approved. Come do that security paperwork right now. So I did. I went over and I did that. Well, that had to be scheduled. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to be scheduled there for like an hour, 2 hours, and there's 24 hours in a day, why I can't use the other like 20 hours or 22 hours to go find a place? So I double booked basically. I booked a trip out there to do that, but I booked a trip for like 8 o'clock in the morning till like 9 o'clock p.m. at night. So I had the whole day to go out and look for it. And I basically, I rented a car and I, drove all the roads out here. I was like, okay, that looks good. That looks good. I wonder how the roads are around the airport. Let's go find a place near the airport. So sure enough, I found a place near the airport. I can tell you where. Again, security reasons, because it's the internet. We found a place. And my roommate went the next few days to go look at the same places. Like, you know what, bro? I like it too. I said, all right, cool, bet. So that's where we're going to live. And keep in mind, I looked at 3 or 4 other places to live that were kind of nice, but they weren't in my budget, as well as this place I'm currently living in. So I said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to go ahead and just get into it. We're going to, stay in this place, get on our feet, get, things going, save some money aside, and then we'll split. Because I don't want to live with you forever, and you don't want to live with me forever. I mean, not that we wouldn't be good people to live with forever, but that's just not where our thought process, that's not where we intentionally wanted to be. We want to, go in life. So we decided, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we decided to put down an application. Like, I really hope this works, because my credit wasn't that great. You guys, it was like the fives, like 5 something. It was bad. Granted, I was a teenager. I was a young kid. I learned my lesson. Won't do it again. I'm slowly making and working my way, right? So I waited, and they said, congratulations, your application was approved. Now we need your deposit. I'm thinking, what? How is it approved if you didn't even have my deposit? I said, okay, your only deposit's about $300. What? Yeah, so your monthly rent is going to be, I think 15 something. And then it's like $100 in fees for trash collection, mail, delivery, some other fees like pest control, and then a couple other miscellaneous fees as well. But nonetheless, I agreed to pay that because it was an approved contract. I was like, okay, cool. So then after like a couple, days, being back in DC, they said, okay, here's all the paperwork you have to sign electronically. Go through this, go through that, your key fob, the pool use, the community room, all this stuff. Basically signing your life away. So I got approved. And they said, okay, you're ready. When is your move-in date? January 4th, because I have to report January 5th. Okay. Well, you need renter's insurance. I know what I need to do. So I went and I got renter's insurance. And I filed that. And then I had to get electricity. That was something I had to learn too. I didn't realize you had to have electricity turned on before you get to a place. My older roommate from our first apartment did all that. That was her shtick. She said, she took care of all the administrative things, but she just requests that we have our rent paid on time. And there was a whole fiasco with that. That was, ugh. I kind of don't want to talk about it because it's a dark time for me. It was a dark time for us all, and it was just a really bad, crappy time. So I'll talk about it in another podcast. I'll talk about how it all fell through. But yeah. So basically, it's a couple months later today. I'm all moved in. I'm all set. I have my TV, which is my monitor right here. I have my podcast, microphone. I have my sound right here. I have a desk, which is right here. I have LED lights right here. I've got my bed right here. Okay. And then I obviously my keyboard, stuff like that. So I've got stuff to live, on my own day to day. In the kitchen, we have some things. And then in his room, he's got some things for him. And then that, yada, yada, yada. What we don't have yet is what we're going to do with that small living room / space. Having to figure that out. Okay. I currently have a drum set there, but that's about it. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that to a hobby room, which I'm going to put basically a big workbench so we can do like small projects and crafts and stuff, and then put a couple of speakers there, like wireless speakers and Bluetooth, speaker system, so we can play music there. Be kind of nice. And then hopefully, host you some people over here when you guys ever come out here, to come see me. So, yeah, now you see the scene of where we are now. Let's roll it a couple months later. So, unfortunately, just the other day, my plates got stolen. Yeah, I'm in a gated community. My plates got stolen. Never had that happen. I've had my car stolen entirely, but my plates got stolen. So this is a whole new batch of complications now. We're in the process of getting this all resolved. I'm also in the process of getting my license all put together. And with all this being asked, things and dates to go, like for example, this whole week I have to go attend a mandatory training for my job, and then the following week I have vacation, and I plan on, traveling for that, and making use out of that because it's paid. And the next one we'll have will be way out in August, but that's the summertime. It's not going to be available to travel because it'll be slammed, stuff like that. So I'll do their stuff later. And what else? I was able to upgrade my position at work, so now I'm a team lead, back like I was in my old job. Before I became a team lead for the move team. And what else? We are in the midst of trying to find some places to basically separate, which is not urgent, but we're starting to build our pantry and starting to build our, foods and stuff. So that's kind of a new thing for me that I'm learning as well, that, you have to basically build your perishables first, and then your long shelf life items, like your pastas, all your sauces, and all your snacks and stuff like that. And then you basically bring your meats, your fruits, your veggies, all that other stuff that kind of has a small shelf life, like a really small shelf life. You buy those, as it comes. So yeah, I kind of casually mentioned it, but I do have a drum set, guys. I just bought it not that long ago, and I'm trying to learn it. Believe it or not, you guys know the intro to Paradise City? Yep, I can play that on there. And it sounds really good. I need to get it so where you can hear it, because it's only heard through earphones and headphones like this. So that's the only downside, but to each their own. Like, it's an apartment. I don't think anyone wants to hear me banging away. And that's another reason why I got an E-kit, which so I can only play and no one else can hear me. I'm going to have to find some rubber mats that go under it, like really thick, like probably that thick, so that the vibration is dampened, so that people don't hear me like basically push down on the drum kick pedal to play the drum kick and the cymbals and all that stuff. And a lot of the vibration from hitting the drum heads, that kind of hits the drum heads a little bit with vibration, so it needs to be dampened. I don't plan on basically putting towels in there like your basically drum set, tricks and tips. I don't plan on doing that. So that's something that we've basically done differently. I'm going to be putting some LED strips up at the top, just like you see here on the bottom. They're going to go up top. Oh, little small tip. If you guys use LEDs in your house, don't saying you should, but if you can afford it, go ahead and do it. But if you're trying to save and scrap every dollar, use LED strip lights in your home, and don't use your incandescent recessed lights, because the power that it's drawn from them is astronomically high. Save those for your summer months when you really need the power. What else do I want to talk to you guys about? So I think what I'm going to end up having to do is put a lot of money aside. I currently have about $3,000 set aside right now, and I'm going to basically buy a pickup. I'm going to buy a pickup truck and then basically sell my Escape, which is all paid off, by the way. I paid that off last year, at the end of the last year. So great. It's such a good feeling. Finally done with it. Ever since COVID 2020. That was the one that I had to buy because my car got stolen. So, but I installed that sound system in it, and all myself, the touchscreen system. It has Apple CarPlay. Absolutely recommend Apple CarPlay, folks. For those of you who don't have it, you can have your text messages read aloud to you. You can watch Apple Maps. If you have Spotify, you can use Spotify with it, and you can view your maps while you're basically viewing the song title and the song information from Spotify. Like, it's good to have at your fingertips. For someone like me, like, I don't need to go back and forth. It's just all conveniently right there. It's a 10-inch screen. It's beautiful. And I was able to basically make this sound a lot better. I want to do a lot of things to my car, but at the same time, I'm going to get a truck. So why put the money into it now when I just would rather have that money in the truck? Make sense? It's kind of defeating the purpose. So I'm putting as much as I need to keep it alive, but eventually I'm going to get a truck. What else? I have explored downtown. I have explored in the surrounding area of my city. I'm not going to disclose it, but I've explored some of the surrounding areas of my city. What else? I went back to my old place, back at my old Fairfax area home, and I showed you guys what it looks like. By the way, I'm going to do another podcast and another video, live video, sharing stories of some of the places that I went to, my childhood, like my old elementary school, my high school, some of the houses I lived in, and share some stories about them. So I can't go inside and show you old homes because they don't belong to me, but I can show you the neighborhoods that they look like, and I think they might still look the same as they were before. But in any case, yeah, that's pretty much all that's really happened to me. I'm quite possibly looking at another position upgrade if I decide to go that route. They want me to basically be part of this, the team of supervisors to supervise my teammates. They want to put me in an ascending program to, basically jumpstart me becoming in management. So they like what I do. They like what they see. So also, there were a couple of connections this year that I knew from last year that kind of have fallen off. I'm not intentionally letting them fall off, but there's a difference between a connection and a vibe and like a platonic / romantic relationship, right? You can have one of three, and you can have all three in one person, but there's just certain people that I realize are just a good connection. There's certain people I realize that are just a good vibe. And there are certain people that are just generally good people that could be solid, life people for me, right? I'm not dating right now. I'm still single. I'm in the dating pool right now. And it's just kind of going in that direction. I know what I'm worth. I know my value. I know what I bring to the table. I have my own apartment. Granted, I have a roommate, but it to each their own. Like, he has his place, I have my place. You guys are welcome to come over. I pay my apartment bills. I pay my cell phone bills. That brings me to another point. Guess what? I am no longer Verizon. I'm done with them. I'm sick of them. I only pay half of what they paid for me. And guess what? I have an additional phone line if I need it. I mean, talk about benefits. And I get Netflix, I get Apple TV, and I think I get T-Mobile Wi-Fi and internet. So there's a lot of benefits on going with T-Mobile now. And also, being autistic, I'm going to tell you guys something. When you make these decisions financially, you also need to keep in mind that you need to do your homework. Not like your sheet of paper at school where you have to fill in answers and all that, but just mentally. And that's what it's doing. The homework is what it's doing. You have to research your question, research the possible answers, research possible solutions, and try to find the best solution for that question / answer, right? Well, I did that, and I found out that the area I live in now, as opposed to the area I lived in before, Verizon 100% had the best signal, the best coverage. The area I live in now, 100% I get better coverage with T-Mobile. But I pay half of what I paid there. instant gratification, an instant solution, instant decision, like no brainer, right? And I'm getting more. Okay. And we'll talk about all that transaction in a different podcast. I'm coming up with podcast ideas. If you guys want to hear those, like actually being done promptly soon, put them in the comment section down there. As you can see again, I'm having trouble right down there. Okay, put it in the comment section down there, or put it down there. Yeah, down there in the comment section. What else? I've gotten a new cowboy hat that I bought at one of the stores. Do I have it out? Yes, I do. One sec, folks. Let me show you. This is your Jason Aldean style, okay? And this is the previous hat band that I had from another hat that I had previously. But it's a really cool. Let me turn the lights to white so you guys can see this. Okay, there you go. That's its real color. See? Pretty cool, right? For those of you guys that are just listening, so the brim of the cowboy hat is kind of like a toasted / burnt straw, and then the center of the brim and crest areas of the brim is just your regular average darker straw, and then where the crown fits the brim, okay, is that darker color, right? And then up where the creases are on the crown up at top, it's that same darker toasted color. It's really nice. And then the inside is that little like stretchy elastic type headband, which I really like because it keeps it on my head. So that's one of the nice things that I've currently purchased that, look really good. And I'm really happy with it, Oh, heck. You guys want to see it on me? This is just for you guys that are watching the video. So if you guys are listening, go check out the video portion of this. All right? Hold on one sec. So that's what it looks like on me. This is your traditional crease right here. It's in most of your cowboy hats. You can also get different creases, but you'd have to have them basically unstain. Well, you have to have them re-stain this and uncrease it and then recrease it the same way. Like you can get cattleman's crease and a whole bunch of other crease types. So there you go. There's my cowboy hat that I just recently bought. I also just recently got a belt with little small rhinestones on it, okay, that go around the belt. I'm also the process of reducing my wardrobe. I'm in the process of trying to find new items to put in my wardrobe and stuff of that sort. Which also brings me to another point. So one of the things I'm doing in there, my closet, okay, that's my bathroom right in there. But in that door specifically, that's my closet, my walk-in closet. I'm trying to downgrade and reduce a lot of my stuff so that it's actually like manageable. Because right now it's just a mess from all that other stuff. So, and I'm going to try to find a organization system for me inside there so that I can have my clothes stored, because it's just racks, like, wire metal racks that's in there, your typical walk-in closet racks. And it's just not very functional as someone with autism to be able to put those on, clothes-wise. Not have my clothes on hangers, but a lot of my other stuff was just regular t-shirts, and you can't put those on hangers and expect to do that every single day. Okay. Now, this is for the part you all want to hear or don't want to hear, because get ready. I'm about to give it to you down and dirty. There's a lot of things that having autism I'm learning to have to deal with my roommate. Firstly, and this, I'm going to start naming things. It's probably makes me a bad roommate, but this is just something with autism I'm frustrated that I have to deal with. But it's been 3 months and I've been coping with it. I can, it's hard to. Okay, 3. So one of the things that I'm having to deal with is I'm having to deal with people basically intruding my personal space. I'll give you an example. Okay, I have certain things I brought from my home over here to this apartment. I plan on taking them with me. And people that I live with, I think, don't value it in that regard. They don't take it for that value, right? Like me, I buy nice things. We bought this very nice. You couldn't tell that we just had this for a generation, as in like 10 years, because it's very well kept. It's very well cleaned. It's very well taken care of. Same with my TV. Same with this. Same with this stuff that I brought, right? You wouldn't know that I had my wok. You wouldn't know that I had my cookware for years because it's just very well kept. So I'm having to learn to just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. So, now, do I have to? No. But I'm saving the sanity of us arguing and fighting and causing that downfall and that negative energy, negative vibe in our living space, in our home. Because the one thing I'm learning, don't create a negative vibe, negative energy in a place you want to be comfortable in. Right? Leave it out the door. Do it at work. Do it elsewhere. Do it outside as your friends. Don't do it at home. Because you're going to walk into that again and it's going to feel negative. It's going to feel dark. It's going to feel bad. It's going to fester. It's like salsa. You're going to keep blending it. It's not going to go back to being chunky. It's going to keep going. Blend it. You're going to regret it, right? So that's one thing I'm having to learn. The second thing is that when my roommate, right, and I it sounds like I'm poking him specifically, but these are things as people with my type of autism, like I have to deal with, but it drives me freaking crazy. I love it when you guys ask us to take and partake in activities with you. Watching a movie, watching a show, going out to do something, doing this and doing that. But what irks me, again, it's just personal, is when you ask me to do that, knowing you're not really energetic to do it, right? So let's say you ask me to do it, and I know that this is a girl and a boy and a guy and a thing, right? It's going to happen. Just get it over with. I get it, guys. But it's like her asking you to watch a movie or a show. So you put it on to watch it. 10 minutes in, she's already asleep, right? Mentally, where I'm at, I'd rather have his company and have him ask me these time and time again, because I don't want him to say, you know what, I'm not going to ask him because he's going to get, pissy about it. That's what I don't want to get to. So I might as well just let him be happy, let him ask me to, partake in it. Like, I know he's dead dog tired, absolutely exhausted, just going to fall asleep in a couple of minutes. But he's like, hey, come watch this episode with me real quick before I fall asleep. No, he said, before I fall asleep. So instantly, my brain registered I could fall asleep in the midst of the conversation in the episode, and that's okay. But just come watch whatever we can right now with what's on right now. I said, okay, bet. So you at least admitted that you may fall asleep. I get that. I appreciate that. I do. It's the small things to me that matter, right? In the bigger picture, it's the small things. Okay. And it allows me to cope with that so that the bigger things mean a lot to you and me. Him offering to spend time with me, us. That's the big thing. But me having to cope with that fine, minute thing, detail, just choking on my words, allows me to spend more time with him as a roommate. Because he's cool. He's awesome as anything. I absolutely adore him. He's cool. And he's real. He's younger than me by a long shot, but he's so humble. He's so polite. He's so charismatic, and his characteristics are absolutely amazing, right? Like, I wish he was my brother, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I got his back, he's got my back. I wouldn't be a team lead if it weren't for him saying, hey, man, you should go for it. Like, not like him saying, hey, man, that there's an opportunity, just try it. He's like, hey, man, I see you're capable of it, and I think it'd be good for you. It'd be good for your well-being. Try for it. So, I really respect that. But like me, again, the third thing, I hate when dishes piled up in the sink. It drives me bonkers. But that's what he does. So I have to let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Right? If it's mine and I want it clean because I want it dry, so when I use it, it's well taken care of. I'll do it. But I'm not going to be in an argument. And if he comes out and says, hey, I'm sorry about it, I'll take care of it. I'm like, that's okay, then. This is actually soothing for me. I'm not arguing, I'm not fighting. It's rather soothing for me. Just explain that, but don't do it on a daily basis because that's kind of a lie, right? You want to be honest and truthful with them, but you also don't want to fight with him because if you're really brutally honest, you're not going to have a successful roommate. You're not going to have a successful living situation, right? So that's where I'm at with him right now. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. That just about wraps up some of the things that I've learned. I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of people that I've kind of dropped connections with and, told them that I've always been here, always be here. I think about them all the time and, I learn a lot from them. One of them, my online best friends, we go back and forth. I've known them since COVID, since I was with United Airlines. And absolutely think the world of them. And I'm having to learn that you can have a connection. You can have a lot of common interests, but you can be platonic with them. And I'm okay with that. Because having them not in my life, because I want them to be more in my life in that manner, would devastate me, would kill me. Because every time that we've tried to get further than that, it just crumbled and stopped and halted. And let me tell you, that was some of the most depressing, darkening moments of my life. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. And I didn't know where to go. I'm not saying I'm not capable of that, but they were my backbone. And it was like gone, missing, snatched. So that's one thing I'm having to learn this year and last year more than anything in the world. And I'm also having to learn how to basically be someone to live with, someone to love. There's things I have to work on, things I have to acknowledge about me and have to tell them, hey, listen, I'm not intentionally doing this. It may come off like this to you, but it's not intentional. But things sometimes just don't align for us to be able to, mesh and meld together like this. Now, if it happens, happiest person in the whole world, because I know that they would be happy too. But since that's not their dream, that's not where they want, that's not where they should be, I'm happy. Because I still get the same version of them that I do now as if it would later. Nothing's going to change. So I'm going to go ahead and call it quits, guys. This has been about an hour's podcast. I appreciate y'all listening to me, banter and, BS and all that stuff. So go ahead and check out the video if you want. I'll leave the audio portion in the audio podcast section so you can listen to that if you want to drive and listen to me, rant and all that stuff. So I have a lot more stuff to you guys coming. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and we'll make sure and take very good care of you. All right, until then, let's do this together. I'm Sean, the ToGA brother. I'm out.